Welcome back to the AAA podcast, the show that gives you access all areas to everything music, nightlife, and everything in between. My name's Lewis. I've got Joel with me today. We do have a special guest with us as well, who has been on before but didn't actually appear on the show. So Kamil, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us again. Obviously, the previous episode we did never got released. It's lost in the archives. No, we did the first episode and we thought it was...
We could do better, that's what we thought.
Yeah, basically. So thank you for joining us. It is our first episode of 2019 and... I didn't get poppers. I was going to get like streamers today, but it is our 10th episode as well. So, yeah, we'll add something in post. So,
I feel honoured.
Let's firstly, little intro about yourself, what you do, so that people don't know who you are.
People that don't know who you are.
People that.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically my name's Kamil. I'm a music and events photographer from Perth. My name on Instagram is Kamil Sleeps, for those of you who probably may follow me, or KS Digital Media on Facebook.
Awesome. So you're basically just doing like event photos, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So music related mostly, nightclubs and music festivals. Yeah.
So because I guess I wanted to delve in first. The most recent one you did was RnB Fridays Live.
That was the most recent big one, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the most recent big one.
Big event, yeah.
That was pretty epic.
It was huge, yeah. So they had Usher as the headliner, and never did I really think that when I got into music photography, I'd be shooting hip hop stuff. But you know, you got to do what you got to do, and no, it was a really cool gig. Yeah, it was awesome.
Any standout moments from it at all, or
like I've actually never been to a hip hop event before, so it was all quite new and refreshing for me. But yeah, no, it was a really awesome gig. They held it at RnB Stadium, so it's a massive stadium, very photogenic, and yeah, no, just had a lot of fun. The stage production was wicked, like very great lighting to work with. Yeah.
Did you get to meet anyone, bump into anyone backstage, or?
No, unfortunately not. I was just flat out running around the whole day. Just didn't get a chance to even like have a break. But yeah.
Sorry, you go. You go.
Thank you,
Joel.
Something I want to personally know is a lot of people. So you do a lot of bass kind of events. You know, you said you did
bass music mostly. Yeah.
Bass music. You cover those kind of genres.
Yeah.
Shooting a hip hop R&B kind of style event. Did you find, what about the vibe did you find different?
You get a completely different crowd first and foremost. I wouldn't say overall the vibe is different. You do get more people drinking alcohol, whereas opposed to the bass music events, you get a lot more people on.
I always tell
drugs.
People that,
yeah. What are they doing at the bass events?
Well, obviously, you know you've been.
What are you implying?
I found personally with hip hop and R&B, which is people that know me know like what kind of genres I like. Yes. But with hip hop and R&B, this is why venues, especially like hip hop and R&B, they spend money at the bar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get a lot more people just drinking alcohol at the R&B events, whereas people take anything and everything at a nightclub for, you know, electronic music. Yeah,
but I think it attracts a different crowd. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Obviously, like not stereotyping, but an R&B crowd is generally going to be a bit older.
Yeah, surprisingly, this was an all ages event, so they did have a lot of like young people.
You're going to get people that come through because obviously, like artists are releasing stuff, but in a majority sense. It's more of like
so those artists. There wasn't a lot of in-betweeners. It was either like a lot older people or like really young people with possibly with their parents. Yeah.
Yeah, as you were saying, like take Usher for instance. He was like the poster boy of that era. Yeah. You know, he was the guy on the.
He's like the Justin Bieber of back then. In a sense of like you look at people that like in say 30 years time, we might not saying I wouldn't, but. People our age will go to say a Justin Bieber concert, but you might he might release some music then like at that stage, and then you can have that young group that might come along. So
like, people like Usher, like they were at their peak in early 2000s, you'd say. So they're all quite old now, and like the people who grew up listening to that music also. Yeah,
Kamil just dropped a bombshell. Usher is no longer at his peak.
No, I said he was.
That genre of music was kind of at its peak around that time. it's safe to say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what like bass music is at its peak at this time.
When you think of hip hop, like who do you really think?
Yeah, but you got two genres. You got hip hop and you got R&B.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you say hip hop to some people, you say R&B to some people.
Yeah.
Some people confuse the two.
Well, some people even don't like. If you say to someone, "Oh, do you like rhythm and blues?" They're like, "What's that?" They're like, "Oh, do you like R&B?" They're like, "Yeah, I love R&B." It's the same thing.
Well, not even really. Like when you think about rhythm and blues, you're thinking about like the old kind of blues.
Yeah. Or what about like funk and disco?
No, but R&B stands for rhythm and blues.
I know, but like people, there's still kind of a difference when you say them like in a different sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what also something that's very different with those kind of Usher and all that fans? Which you'd probably, I don't know these days because I don't have, like obviously my sisters grew up in a different kind of era. But back then people got the magazines, cut them and like kind of put pictures up of their favorite artists in their room. I don't know, but I don't believe people are chopping up pictures of these dubstep artists and putting them up in their bedroom.
No.
I can't see that happening.
Back in my day, it was all like bands and stuff, and
people cut out magazines, stuck them up. You might have something in your locker.
You do see it with still with the like the hip hop or R&B.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have you get Justin Bieber posters all over like bedrooms and shit.
You're not gonna have some like
I haven't seen Justin Bieber bedroom, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It probably does. Like they're making money
people,
if the shops are stocking it, they're selling it.
But you're not gonna have someone with like excision visuals sitting up on their bedroom wall.
Depending on the person. If they're a hardcore fan, then you
Camille's like, oh, that's what I have in my bedroom.
Actually, I have a Datsik poster in my room, funnily enough. Yeah.
Well, as we said, each to their own.
Yeah.
You've also got a big box of lanyards too, don't you?
I just hang them up. Yeah, in my room. I like to show that shit.
What's wrong with having lanyards?
Because you've got a box too, haven't you?
I don't know. Mine are all hanging up. So obviously you did that show. That was probably the biggest recent one.
Yeah.
But you have previously you've shot or you attended, but you brought in a camera to Tomorrowland, and EDC
in
as
Las Vegas, yeah. So that EDC Las Vegas, I went with a tour group as their photographer, and obviously I wasn't an official photographer for the event, so I couldn't bring in my proper rig, but I did have a small camera with me to just take photos for fun around there, and got some really awesome photos just with that. But for the rest of the tour, I do have like a professional camera with me, which I take photos for the tour group. Yeah.
And that's that was obviously an experience in itself shooting over there. Like it's completely different to how it is here.
Oh, absolutely. And over there, you have just crazy amounts of people. Even like the media crew over there, they're so on point with everything. They have to be at specific places at particular times, and you just see them with their rigs and just shooting away. And then the after movies that they create are just like 30-minute long movies, and just put so much detail into it. Like really like capture the vibe. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen some of the stuff like Final Kid that does like all the ultra stuff. They just spend so much time like filming like all the like B-roll stuff for it. It's insane what they come up with.
Yeah. And it takes, months for them to put those movies together as well.
Now, I wanted to kind of delve into how you really got into photography at the start. And I kind of had, I guess, explain how you got into it, and then I've got a couple of follow-up questions to that as well. So
so pretty much growing up, I was always into media and creative stuff, just always messing around with the Photoshop on my computer. Back in those days, we even had, it was called Fireworks. It was owned by a different company, and then Adobe bought them out, and they just messed around with it, and there's no longer Fireworks. But it's pretty much, it was like graphic design, web design, and Photoshop all into one program, and it was just awesome. Even animation, it was really cool.
Adobe was like, we're going to split it up into like 6 different programs.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what they
did. And make a lot more money.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Just always loved messing around with that kind of stuff. And then I was never really into photography or filming until I went to study at TAFE. And TAFE is like a sort of tertiary education over here in Australia. I actually went to TAFE to study game design because I always wanted to design video games, do art and all that for that. And then one of our units that we did was video, funnily enough. And I filmed a music video for a band. And back then I was really into bands as well. And I filmed this music video. I never used a video camera in my life before. I actually borrowed a friend's Nikon, which then back then they weren't very known well for video, more for photo. Just made this video, edited it together. I really loved how it turned out. And then I was just like, shit, I can actually do something with this. And really wanted to get into band photography and filming more music video stuff. And ended up finishing my degree in games design, but then realized there's not much of an industry for that in Perth. And and then I just started following through with the photography side of things. And here I am now.
And do you? So obviously you do it full time now. So you're making a.
No, I don't do it full time.
No, not doing it full time.
No. Well, it's weekend work for me at the moment. Still, I do have a full time job. But I am working towards making it full time. Yeah.
So you eventually want to get it to the point where you're. Yeah, completely doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
I was going to ask as well. I'm trying to think of the best way to kind of phrase what I was going to ask. Do you have something, Joel, while I kind of put together my question?
just between people that do this on the weekend as well, and like we still work full-time jobs. Monday morning, when that alarm goes off, do you wake up and say, work, and get to the BP or the coffee shop as quick as possible?
Always got to start my morning with a coffee, of course. But no, I mean, I just start every day and just get straight into it. I mean, obviously, Monday is a hard day to start with, but after working for a whole weekend, but I try to just keep it balanced and focus on what's important.
Yeah. Would you say that like obviously those Monday mornings and going to your day job still, like you obviously know the importance of the day job. Would you say that like you try to keep as positive during your day job so that it makes your weekend job also more enjoyable?
Tricky question.
Because
I definitely don't enjoy my full-time job, but it's more I just try to power through just so I can get to the weekend. Yeah.
I found like these days, like when you have those good like weekend jobs and then you have to go back to work, it really knocks the wind out of your sails. And you're like, I could be doing so much more. Do you get those moments, like especially because you've done a lot of travel and you've shot all these big kind of things? Do you ever like? I'm not saying your ego grows, but it's kind of like almost like your self-worth. You're like, I could be doing something different. Like I could be concentrating and putting my time and my effort into creating something more.
Yeah. Again, it's really hard because I just try to keep it all balanced at the moment and try not to do too much of one thing because I don't want to kill myself for the other thing. I try not to push myself to do too much photography at the moment because it's hard to find that time outside of my full-time job to do the things that I want to do and the creative things. I don't necessarily think that if I just dropped my full-time job that I'd be able to work full-time doing photography just yet. So I'm trying to work my way into getting into a comfortable position with photography before I drop the other job. Yeah.
I was going to say, because we spoke about it, so the last episode last year that we did with Shan about obviously if you don't really love your job, quit it, do something you do love or like do stuff.
There's that all over the time on social media and all the rest.
Yeah, and obviously in a way it's kind of like you can't just drop everything.
Yeah.
You can easily say
it. Yeah. Some people do, yeah.
It's easier to be said than done. But do you, I guess what your point was saying is that, do you have those days where you wish you literally could just drop everything?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Have you thought about it, like seriously? Not just like, oh, I wish I could quit. Like, have you?
I have, and I've come close many times. And yeah, I guess the worry that I have is that I wouldn't get a consistent cash flow to support myself dropping my full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hate
that's
my full-time job. So.
But that's the challenges of working for yourself is literally the fact that you can be making awesome money, but like next week it's like that's it. Like
exactly.
It could end next week, and
it's just like things have been. I've been doing really well with my photography the last couple of months, but this month all of a sudden, you know, a lot of my bookings either got dropped or I just haven't been getting bookings. So that kind of thing worries me. In making that plunge, you know, it's like sometimes I am just like, oh, I'm doing great with my photography. Like I could probably quit my full-time job soon, but then, you know, there's that week where you don't have any work and then you're just like, well, shit, what would I be doing if I didn't have that full-time job?
But I feel in a sense, sorry to jump in, Joel.
That's all right.
That there's kind of a point where, so if you did quit, I remember, so when I quit my full-time job, I basically, when I was speaking to like the head boss, like they were the last person that made the decision. And I could either do, I think, what was called a career break, where I had 3 months where I went off and did that, but then I had the option of coming back, or completely leaving it. And he denied me having the 3-month break because he said to me, and it's the best advice I've ever got. He was like, if you have a 3-month break, you have a plan B. He's like, you're not going to go full ball because you know that if something goes wrong, you've got somewhere to go back.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I feel the fact that like if you, at the moment, you worry about not getting, not having that work.
Yeah.
And I'm not throwing something at you, but I'm not making an assumption. But like when you don't have that security of a day or like a weekly income,
you kind of find the drive to push yourself to find work.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or get work,
You're gonna spend those extra hours emailing people and not just going, all right, I want to like I'm only going to shoot this.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So I feel it's like if you think you can do it and you've got the opportunity to, then like there's no harm in like, unless you've got like a mortgage and 3 kids, then like do you?
No.
The problem I see with
no way.
this is the thing that I've thought about, and definitely people like you guys. You guys enjoy the nightlife kind of stuff, and that's like your forte, you know. But if all of a sudden you're in a position where you got no day job, you might have to go shooting baby photos. You might have to start taking on some jobs you don't enjoy, which kind of makes the whole photography thing.
I know I'm prepared to do that for sure. And I mean, I don't think I'll be able to make a living off, you know, nightlife photography. And I do want to delve into other areas, and I do other things as well.
It allows you to experience other things as well. Like you might go, oh, I don't want to shoot this, and then you eventually do it, and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. Like
and you might find that you make more money doing the other things.
Exactly.
Well,
and we've spoken previously about it. Like I remember Jackson saying, he's like, money's money at the end of the day. People don't want to look at it as in that way, but at the same time, like you've got to pay bills. So like if you're gonna shoot baby photos, to rephrase
or pregnancy or maternity or
or whatever it may be. Like I know people that shoot funerals. Like it's like at the end of the day, if you, the creativity is still there, no matter what you're doing. Whether you're shooting a photo of a plant or you're shooting a festival, that the basics of photography are still there.
Yeah,
you're just shooting a different object or a different a subject.
That's kind of across the board with a lot of these kind of creative jobs. Is you can easily take what you know and put it into something else.
Yeah,
but like we've kind of mentioned, within the creative space, everybody's got their preferred thing that they kind of do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just like we all know, if we want to make extra money, we can go do weddings, or we can go do parties, or we can go do something. But the main thing we all kind of love is the festival club. But
that's the same with it, like a musician. I'm sure, like you go to like a DJ, they could, they love making this sound or whatever. If they did this other one, they get bookings weekly, but they don't want to do that. Like everyone. I think in any creative field or any job in general, you're going to have those, if you did this, you can make more money, but a lot of people don't want to. Or a lot of people don't want to work in general. They could go and do X job, but they can't doing it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
the thing is, we've got to remember that at the end of the day, we have a job to do as well. And it gets to that point where like your passion in shooting music, for example, you still have to remember that you're doing this for money as well. So it can't just be all fun and games all the time. You have to.
It's a job at the end of the day. Like people, whether people think about it, like the way in which people think about it is, it's just you literally just go out and party. And look, sometimes you do, but at the same time, you're making a living.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to work.
You got to go home at the end of the day. You got to edit those photos and deliver them by a certain time. Yeah.
Like, all right, for instance, just a quick one. How many photos did you take roughly for RnB Fridays? Just to give people, so that people have an understanding.
Yeah, so RnB Fridays was a really tough gig because they also wanted live edits throughout the day. So we had Lewis Martin, who you guys interviewed previously. He was our pretty much editor throughout the day. So I'd be running up to the editing suite every almost after every single act to drop off
photos.
a couple photos to him so he can make uploads throughout the day. And they also wanted photos pretty much by the next day.
Yeah, because I know the deadlines. Like I remember from Stereosonics, that was like you shoot this day, and then I think they like the requirement was that the full album was done by like 6 p.m. the next day. So you shot on the Saturday or whatever day it was.
It was Friday.
Yeah. And it's like the next day. It's like
next day by midday they were expecting pretty much a full album.
So how many would you have taken roughly?
I think I shot about 2,500, maybe 3,000 tops. It was a 9-hour day. And yeah, so it took quite a bit of time, as you'd imagine, to get through all those photos to pick out the best. I wouldn't say I met the deadline. I did get them a highlights album. I did get them a highlights album by midday the next day. I literally was up editing till I think 6 a.m., slept till 9, and then they were messaging me, be like, "Oh, can we get these photos?" So I was like, "Fuck!" So I'm back up at 9 o'clock, smashing out the edits till 12, and then sent them like 150 highlights, and then straight back to editing straight after that, and then.
And I think this is the part that people don't see or don't know about it is that. Like, although that's like what you do is it's an incredible day. Like I'm sure you had so much fun, but at the same time, they don't see.
And I think I produced some of the best photos that I've ever taken throughout that day as well. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of work that people don't realize that I go through as well. Very little sleep and and eye strain especially.
Yeah.
But after that 9-hour day and you edited all that and you gave it to them, you gave them the highlights. Did you sit back after all of this and you're like, killed that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Even as I was editing, I was like, I took some good photos.
Like, and afterwards, after that, you had that kind of that self-worth. You're I did that. I pulled that off.
It was such a relief as well. You just feel like a massive weight lifted off your shoulders. You're carrying 10, 15 kilos of camera gear on your shoulders throughout the entire day as well.
So metaphorically and physically.
Exactly. You take that off and then you get the photos done and then you can actually take the weight off your shoulders. Yeah.
But I think literally on what you were saying, I was watching a documentary about Martin Garrix. So they did, so he released 5 songs. They did 5 music videos in 2 weeks. So like literally they were like shooting and like there was parts where like the video was being rendered and they were shooting like the last scenes for it. But the director of that, he goes, there was moments throughout it, literally where he was like, I hate what I'm doing. Like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like,
it gets like that during the editing process, especially because that's when you're sitting there thinking like, was this all worth it?
Exactly, and that's literally, but that's literally his words. It was like, is it all worth it? Like, is this really what I'm wanting to do with my life? And he goes, but once I finished all 5 videos, because they had basically it was like a journey. So it was like a series in a way. Once you got to the end of it and it was all uploaded and done, he's like, this is the best thing I've ever done. Like it's created, like I'm so happy with what I've accomplished. And I guess that's always a fight.
Yeah, there is a feeling of achievement after you've finished it, of course. And especially when you get feedback from the client being like, yeah, these are sick. Thank you for that. Then it makes it all worth it at the end, doesn't it?
Do you, so the questions I was going to ask you, because there's kind of 2. And it's a bit more intrusional, but I want to kind of challenge you on this. Did you, growing up or I guess now, have you had any help from your parents in regards to supporting you with photography?
Do you mean financial support?
Financially?
No.
No?
My parents have never, put any of their own money into helping me with what I do. Everything I own, I worked for myself. On the flip side of that, my dad, who I do currently work for as a full-time position. He obviously supports me in other ways because he wants me to achieve my dreams. He also used to want to be a professional photographer, but found it really hard to make a living once he started, getting a family together. But he's always supporting me, pushing me to go and do what I need to do. And if I need time off work, then I can get that time off as well. So I do get support in other ways.
Like in regards to like, and I don't mean to get intrusional, but I'm trying to get to, you'll understand the point in a minute. But like in regards to like bills, rent, that kind of stuff, is that something that like, are you...
I still pay rent. Obviously, not a ridiculous amount. I do live with my parents still as well. So but yeah, like I like, they will cook for me and feed me. In that sense, of course. But I still put my 2 cents together. I still work hard for what I have.
So my question is to challenge that is, if you took away, say your father like helping you out in the way that like, say you were, all right, so you turned 18, you had to move out of home, you've got to work, but you're not working for your father, you're working elsewhere. Do you think you would be where you are today, or do you think that what they've done has, in a way, obviously there's talent and all of that have got you where you are, but do you think those things have contributed to where you are?
No, they've definitely helped me a lot with that. Like if I had to move out straight as I turned 18 years old, I don't know where the hell I would be, and I probably wouldn't even be doing photography, in all honesty. Like when I first started getting into photography as well, I had a lot of my dad's old camera gear that he used when he was a photographer to play around with and learn with. So I definitely would not be where I am without that.
Do you think that that's something that, like, if someone, I guess, if you put it this way, if someone looked at you and goes, "Oh, so you've shot for RnB Fridays, you've obviously didn't like officially, but you've gone over to Tomorrowland, you've shot that stuff, you've experienced all these things," and go, "Well, I can't do that because." Like I don't have enough money, or I don't have this or that. Like, is there anything I
still think like anybody can do what I do. Like no matter where you come from or what your background is. Like if you work hard, make money and save money. Like I don't think it's hard to save money. In all honesty, anyone can do it. It's just people decide to spend money in different places. We all have our guilty pleasures.
100%.
Yeah, and I think in saving money, like not like putting $500 a week. Like even if you put a little bit away.
Exactly. Like anything, $100 a week or whatever. As long as that like backup bank account is rising, then you have
There's
money
always a starting point.
to put into wherever you want or whatever you want. And for me, that's camera gear and travel.
Yeah.
But everyone's different, but anyone can do it sure.
There's a huge, and I mean a huge misconception and illusion behind photography, DJing. Take something else, for instance. People think either one way or another. You're a bum living in a shitty apartment that just does this. Or you're some rich dude who magically gets money from nowhere doing this job. You're a party boy who all these girls. Like,
don't stop pointing at me when you're saying this.
Like, or you're this
point at Kamil.
You're this guy who snorts all this expensive cocaine and smokes crack.
Point at Kamil.
You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is there's polar opposites. Like people make these assumptions. They just look at you and they think that like you're in the club, you're taking photos, or you're in the club, you're DJing, or you're over here doing that. You know what I mean? Like, or you're a promoter, you're doing all this stuff. It's like Now, where was I going with this? People have no idea. How many people in the creative space have you met that have a wife and family? Like, it's a lot more common than you think. People get married.
I've met people that have 2 kids and like a wife, and I'm like, what? Like,
I've met young guys like myself who are dads and they're DJing. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's they enjoy it, they're making a little bit of extra money. Sometimes their missus is happy with it. Sometimes the missus is not happy with it. You know what I mean? Or you got an ex like mine who just shits on it. You know what I mean? Like, just thinks it's the worst thing in the world. Like, what are you doing out, DJ? Like, but there's
I feel like he has a bit of a thing with his ex.
There's a huge illusion behind it. Even like, I've got a mate. I'm not going to name his name. He's done quite well with DJing. He's quite big in the DJ circuit. And I remember one night his mum was gone. He's ethnic. I'm not going to name the ethnicity because then you might narrow it down. But his mum called up one night and was like,
"Was she Greek?"
I'm not telling you. She was like, "If you're out late at night, I know you're up to no good, like at these gigs." He's like, "I'm doing nothing. I'm sober. Everyone else is the the bad ones, you know? Like, people think, well, on one hand, some DJs do like to get as smashed as the people they're playing to.
Yeah.
Some photographers
And
like to snort coke. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Chefs, doctors, engineers, people with highly regarded occupations do all this bad shit.
I can attest that nurses are by far the wildest people. Nurses are the wildest people
here's a fact.
When it comes to, or anyone in the medical.
At these mental institutions, do you know who a lot of the number one patients are? People who work within the medical industry, because it's a high stress.
Yeah.
Many doctors get on the drugs. They know the side effects.
I do know nurses who actually go hard on it.
Oh.
They know the side effects. They know the pros and cons of all these substances, but they still take it.
And usually have access to these. I
wasn't going to say anything about access.
In the back of the ambulance, a bit of morphine.
There's this huge illusion behind these, huge illusion and misconceptions. How many touring artists do you know that are like, oh, I'm not going to drink that, or I'm vegan purely because of the health benefits while I'm touring?
No, it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, I shot a gig a couple weeks ago, the Syndicate, and there was a DJ, an international DJ, who surprisingly was vegan.
Yeah, apparently there's health benefits behind it. Yeah, but people think that, like, all these people...
I was so surprised to hear
all right, if we're going to go down this rabbit hole, let's start talking about this. All right? Veganism.
We're not talking about veganism.
No, we're talking about it. It's the first
Let's flip those A's around.
Have we triggered something?
The first episode of 2019, we're going to trigger some people. Veganism, right?
Are you a vegan?
No.
Oh. Well, then there's nothing to...
No, there is. Veganism is all about being healthy and not killing animals, like basically plants, like that kind of thing. Now, I watched something recently and it made a lot of sense where you think about it. All right, so
we get here.
You brought it up, so I'm going to continue it.
I said let's not talk about veganism.
Vegans, right? So say you want whatever the plant may be, I don't care, cabbage, whatever it is, in it that's growing in the ground, right? If you have, say, like a herd of cows that are in a paddock, you literally just leave them there. You feed them every so often. Obviously, they get fat, then they go off, and so on. If you have like a row of cabbages or whatever it may be, they're growing that it's just for vegans and it's not harming the environment. Do you know how many products they're spraying on there to keep them healthy, killing all the animals and all the insects, the things that are in the ground that are living, that will obviously eat those things away if they were left there. And if you look at it like that, they're killing an entire, I guess,
organisms. They're killing
they're killing an entire habitat
ecosystem. To be honest, I don't know enough about veganism to comment, but
if we want a controversial argument, we can bring a vegan in.
Let's bring. If you're a vegan,
probably make a decent. It'd probably make.
If you're a vegan, like someone that's an expert on veganism, because I know that there is health benefits, like obviously eating plants and all of that.
You get superpowers. Those are the health benefits.
I actually here's a confession. I did veganism for 3 months, and then I continued on vegetarianism for 6, purely because I thought veganism was too hard.
Yeah, it is like, and look.
I've no word of a lie. I tried becoming vegetarian at one point in my life as well for 3 months, and then I only ate chicken and fish for another 3 months, and then I just couldn't help but eat meat again.
There was benefits. There was definitely benefits.
Did you feel better?
I did feel a little more energy when
I definitely looked healthier. Like my skin had never been so like.
Instead of right now, you look like shit.
Thanks.
No.
Well, I haven't exactly had a healthy day. I'll tell you that right now. It was not a healthy day.
You definitely had a healthy drive here, though.
And I had a very healthy drink.
No, but I will say it is very, like, a while back had an operation on my mouth. So I had stitches in my mouth. So I couldn't eat properly for like 2 weeks.
What were you doing with your mouse?
With my mouse? No, I had an operation on the inside of like my lip, so I had stitches, so I couldn't eat for 2 weeks. So I could only have the only things I could have was like soft stuff. So all I was eating was baked beans and mash. I've never felt so weak.
You would have felt like shit if that's what you ate.
I never felt so weak in my life, and like
canned baked beans, like
I wasn't. Like, I'm not that rich. I'm not
He wasn't boiling bloody beans.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like...
Why didn't you have a minestrone, mate? You could have had other things. Yeah. You chose to be the slack prick and only eat that.
Yeah, because I felt weak. I didn't want to get out of bed.
I'm telling you now, if that's what you ate, that's because that was your choice.
Yeah, well, I don't have a chef cooking for me, and I'm not a qualified chef or Mr.
I think we can all learn. We can all learn to cook.
Chef Borner over here. Have you seen his photos of his food? No. He needs to quit. He needs to quit DJing and just become a chef. He brought in cake last time. He was like, "Here's some chocolate cake."
Where's my cake?
Oh, no, mate, the thing is, the sad thing is that wait. The sad thing is that when he came over and he's like, "Here's some cake," the first thing we had to ask, has it got weed in it?
Had to clarify.
Wait, no, especially with Joel.
I wouldn't just be giving it away, mate.
That's why you only gave us a small slice.
I was like, I've portioned it so that you all get like this good sized slice each, and he was just like, "What's in it?"
That's why we gave Darby the first
you know my rule is I don't like people talking about food around me unless they're sharing it with me. So let's just stop with the food talk.
Don't worry, you will be.
Do you want some baked beans?
I'll hit you up later and we'll organise some food.
You made that sound so bad.
We'll organise some food.
Yeah, we've just been talking about weed chocolate cake. And you're like, we'll organise some food.
Yeah, we'll organise some food.
Now.
Back to photography.
So let's jump back into it. What has been... So how long have you been doing it professionally? And I use the word professionally because obviously it's like, where do you kind of...
Yeah, loose term. I would say probably about...
Let me rephrase. How long have you been getting paid?
Paid for it, yeah. And that's what I was going to...
Yeah.
Paid equals professional. It does. There's no.
It was probably honestly about 2 years ago from now that I started getting paid gigs, and one of my first paid gigs was actually Breakfest 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Yeah. So the third one that I'm shooting is coming up next, and
so that would make it 2 or 3 years. Well, 3 Breakfests.
Yeah, 3 Breakfests. But
that's how we're going to measure it?
3 Breakfests is when I started being a paid professional photographer.
And over that time, so in 3 Breakfests, what do you think is your... I know this and you can take a moment. What do you think is your favourite moment shooting?
It'd have to be going to Vegas with the Wake Tours. That is by far like my most favourite thing that I've ever done, most favorite place that I've visited in the world, because Vegas is just absolutely insane. Like whatever you thought or knew about Vegas, just times it by 100, and that's what it actually is. So definitely a highlight of mine. Yeah.
And now I was going to say I'm still waiting on the owner of the Wake Tours to reply back to us, because you are terrible at replying.
Anita.
Yeah.
Anita,
we need you on here.
We should do it together next time.
That's pretty cheeky.
Well, that's definitely going to be a soundbite.
Here's one thing I want to ask you. Like, you get asked to do these.
Hey, wait, there's a smile in there that there's a story.
No. I'm seeing someone at the moment, so you guys just made me look really bad.
I didn't say anything. I just used one word. Okay. So anyway, you get asked to do some pretty prestigious gigs. Like you've just done the RnB Fridays one. Yep. One of your first paid gigs you said was Breakfest. Like, to some people, that
was very surprising for me as well, to be honest.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So how that came about is Brady Flockhart, he used to work for Boom Tick Events as their marketing coordinator, and he hit me up a couple of weeks prior to that. He wanted me to shoot Troy Boy, the Highline gig featuring Troy Boy, and unfortunately I actually had Excision on the same night. And I was also shooting Excision, but it was not paid. But I was just like, Troy Boy paid, Excision not paid. Like, Excision was a massive deal for me back then, so I had to take on that gig. But luckily enough, he still wanted me to come back and shoot something for them. So he asked me if I was keen on doing Breakfest, and I was like, wow, like I feel honored that you even asked me to do that. And yeah, no, it was awesome. And then ever since then, I shoot quite regularly for Boom Tick Events now. I do listen out for them, touch base, and then all their other in between gigs.
I don't know if it's just you personally, but you're a very humble guy. Like some people in Perth will be like, bro, you're a wizard. Like I've said it before. Lots of people I know said it before. Like you're a wizard with a camera. You know what I mean? Like how do
I even contested that. And today there was a thing that put up, and the comments that were like it was someone wanting photos, and it was it was literally you. It was like everyone was like Kamil.
You know what I mean? Like,
but
like
you know
I've said it before. Like there's two people in the street. Some people that are like, and some people that purely get in because they're skilled. And you're one of those like the person's name who always comes up that Kamil is highly regarded, not because he knows all these people, but because he's highly skilled. Like, how do you just keep so humble, and how do you just, like, keep that clear head where everyone regards you as this, but you still just see yourself as the same old...
Yeah, it's just myself.
Just Kamil.
I think that's just the most important thing, to be honest, is to be yourself in this industry, because there's too many... Nobody likes you know, just...
You're
Lewis.
You're not...
I love how the moment that you said that, me and Job both looked at each other. I would like to address. What are you trying to say? Huh?
No. But yeah, no. There's just too many assholes in the industry, and there just needs to be more good people.
Facts.
Like if the people that I work for, I want to be good people, and I'm sure they would like me to be a good person as well in return. And that's what I think it's all about, to be honest. Like, yeah,
being a good person.
Being a good person, be yourself.
Yeah.
And another thing,
unless you're a dick, then don't be yourself.
Be someone else.
Yeah. Another thing, which it kind of goes hand in hand. Like you've got to have the skills, but in order to get to that next part, you know, in order to take it to that next level, like because you might look at some people's work and be like, they're getting booked for this and that, and they're doing it full time. They're in a kind of a position that I would like to be in. They're neither better or worse or got better skill set than me, but they've got that job for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like what kind of advice could you give to other people, or like
I think at the end it all comes down to the people you know, and these people might be friends with promoters or you know all that stuff, and they have those connections, and that's again a really important thing is to know the right people and make connections and be social and network as much as you can. Because it all comes down to the people you know in the industry.
Networking.
Especially one like this. That is so true. Like, between us here, like, like how many gigs have any of us got purely because our mate knew we could do, not that we were the best at the job, but they knew we could do the job.
Yeah.
And therefore they'd be like, hey man, or so-and-so asked me, like, can you do this?
Yeah. And I think that's how, like, I think in... even with us three in the room, that's how I'm pretty sure that's how we've all met is through literally like...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe not directly, whether we've networked with someone else and then we've met through that kind of thing. And I think that's... Yeah, it's just... It's one of those...
Yeah, I can safely say, me personally, is most of the work that I've gotten in the past, or most of the promoters that I work for, simply because I've met these people, you know, backstage or at one stage or another, had a chat with them, and they just liked who I was, and that's why they wanted to book me at the end of the day. And now I get regular work from these people. It's you just got to talk, and people are more likely to book you for something if they've met you in person as well, than if you're just like messaging them on Facebook being like, hey, can I have a job? Can you book me for this gig? Like, they want to see you face to face. They want to know how you are as a person, because you're also going to be representing them at the end of the night.
Yeah. Would you say you ever use like kind of a format to kind of like not gain a job or get a foot in the door somewhere, but kind of like steer yourself in that direction with a particular group of individuals?
Yeah, so do you have any top secrets that you're going to...
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like a small little formula. Not.
Are you saying... Wait, are you saying in like contacting someone or in like generally in person?
Just generally in person, I'm sure.
Bit of both. Because like when we've had previous people, I kind of like to ask that question. Not that I'm trying to take their thunder or trying to steal what they do. Like,
you just want to give some advice to the people works, out there who are just trying to...
Because of who you are, how you look, and how you speak. Obviously, what you do and what Lewis does and what I do and anyone else in a similar field, you have to do what kind of works for you.
Yeah.
But in saying that, there's kind of little guides and steps that everyone can kind of use to complement, each kind of thing. So, like, what would you say kind of works for you?
I don't know. I don't necessarily just approach people out of the blue. Like, I try to find someone who knows someone and then work my way through them.
Yeah.
I don't like if I wanted to meet someone who's a really big promoter and they're at this particular gig that I'm shooting for, I'm not just going to walk up to them and be like, hey, blah blah blah, this is me. I'll just try to find someone that I know also knows
like
this
the
person.
second or third.
Yeah, exactly. And then
like
I'll try
mutual,
and then I'll try and just weasel my way in there eventually. Have a couple drinks with this person, get to know them, and before I even talk anything business related, they're there just because most of the time because they want to have a good time as well.
Yeah.
So they don't want just someone approaching them out of the blue being like, blah blah blah. This is me. This is what I do.
I'm just gonna. You reminded me of something. I want to ask you if you guys have the same scenario. Do you ever get those? What are you laughing at?
You always look so sleazy, and just the way you deliver some of your questions sometimes. We've been through this before.
No, do you feel that when you have someone that will message you on Facebook and they'll be like, "Hey, how you been?" and you haven't talked to them in like 6 months.
You definitely know they
what
want
do you
something
want?
from you.
Yeah, and it's like I had one today, and it was like, "Hey man, how you been?" And I'm like, I know that like I could reply back, "Yeah, what do you want?" But it's like, "Yeah, I'm good. How are you?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm good. So I've done this, this, and this, and I was just wondering if you could help me with it." Like, and I'm like it's just letting you know out there to the people of the world, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I've done it to anyone.
I'll bring something up. I had a person message me on my Facebook page the other day. It's not really...
I know you get some annoying people,
way.
just like I've had some annoying people, and I'm sure you've had some annoying people.
But this is what I had. This person came up to me and they're just like, "Hey, I came across your work from Breakfest event page and I'm in love with your style of photos. Would I be able to ask for some tips or info about the settings or equipment you use on your club shoots? I'm just starting to get into club photography. And any help from established photographers would be amazing." And this is what I said back to him. And this is like what I would say to anyone, to be honest. I'll just say, I said thank you first and foremost. And then I'll
See, there's the humble part of him coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now look at Google.
As far as settings and equipment goes, I can't really just suggest things to people because it's
factors,
it's different.
variables.
Exactly, it's different for every person.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to get a job because you're using the equipment that I'm using or shooting in the style that I'm shooting in. So all I said to him was pretty much just experiment with what you have. Like your camera gear that you have now, I'm sure is good enough for whatever you want to do. And the best way to learn is just go out there and shoot as much as you can and see what you like. You will eventually develop your own style and see what works for you at the end of the day just by doing that. And that was pretty much it,
And they were like, yep.
No, he took that on board. He said, that's understandable and I'll take that on board. I'll test out different methods. Thanks for your input. And that makes me happy, if like my advice, if I can pass that on to someone, then, hopefully I hope the best for them.
There's only so far learning and teaching can take you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And if I told him like, these are the exact camera settings that I use, but you're going to do fine. That's not going to help him. It's like I'd rather give him some advice that he can actually take on board and do something with it.
Do you think success is also, or like your level of success is determined by the people that you surround yourself with, in a sense of like, if say you are an extremely talented photographer, you want to surround yourself with people that are better, so that it always challenges you to kind of...
I definitely think it helps having friends who are in the same line of work as you that you can learn from and get advice from, or are kind of involved in the same industry as you. I like to hang out with like-minded people, especially. My whole friends group, we're all very close and, think alike and do the same thing. So it definitely helps, and it helps your creativity as well as a person because they want to be on that same level as creativity as you.
Yeah, so it's kind of you're pushing each other.
Yeah, exactly.
In a sense. Well, we've almost come to the end.
I'm surprised we made it this far.
Yeah, we're probably pissed off a few people, but
yeah,
we're
who the fuck's we?
Who brought up veganism?
He brought up veganism.
I said about the benefits. I like to highlight
back?
the pros of things, where Lewis likes to highlight the cons of things.
Exactly, and that's why we're
He's
a good
just
team.
one of those kind of people.
You guys just balance each other out.
Yeah, exactly. He's the yin to my yang. That sounded worse than it meant to be.
keep me out of your yings and yangs, mate.
He's the ding to your dong.
No.
We're in, now.
Kamil's first dad joke ever.
Oh,
Yeah,
you must be getting close to being a dad.
I mean,
The look,
the age of a dad, or
well, he did. He did say he is seeing something. So he has.
I wasn't going to say anything about that, mate.
Love is in the air.
I wouldn't say love just yet, mate.
Oh,
Jeez, I don't like to rush into things.
Oh, we might have to go one more.
I know a good wedding DJ.
And by the time you might release this video, we don't know if we'll still be together. So don't get your hopes up. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so, but you never know. You never know.
Our turnaround isn't that bad on these. God, that's going to be an awkward conversation if it.
I just hope she doesn't watch this.
Yeah.
Well, from my personal experience, I don't know if many people watch the entire thing. So,
if you got this far, well done.
Do not skip to the end.
Yeah.
I'll put a thing in the very start. Skip to this point. Now we're going to get into. Obviously, you've got the hat behind us, which we're going to fill in a story about. Now, before I do that, do you have anything more you want to ask, Joel? Any other questions? Don't do that eyebrow waste to me. That's weird.
No one can see because the cameras don't face that way.
There's a camera right there that can see you. All right. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown why this hat is so important and why you left it with us the first time?
Why this hat is so special is because it is one of a kind KS Digital Media cap. And the funny story about this hat is actually I've only ever worn it once, and that was to the first Breakfest that I ever shot. So there you go.
There you go. And we know from previous times you don't spend a lot on advertising.
I do not. So this was actually a gift from my father along with other marketing materials such as business cards and a shirt.
There's never been used.
That's how stingy I am. My dad has to buy this for me.
And how much of that have you used?
I've handed out a few business cards.
How many did he buy you? 100?
He bought me quite a lot. There's still a big stack of them. Sorry, Dad.
Speaking of not spending money on marketing and advertising, what's your alternative?
I actually,
drinking.
To be honest, like,
and networking.
Word of mouth is like the biggest one for me. I'm not big on social media. I don't really care about followers or pushing myself on that kind of stuff. I only use Instagram just so I have a platform.
All right, let's be humble though. You're not doing too bad on the whole following thing.
Yeah, but I'm not like religious about it either, like most people are. Like honestly, I find most people
not caring. Not caring.
But it's a trap to get stuck in social media.
It is, and
it'll take you away from what you.
It becomes a full-time job as well. You know, keeping up to date with all that kind of stuff is. You know, I don't feel for myself that it really pays off investing too much time into it. I do. The people who do want to see my work will go in there and see it. Otherwise, I don't really see the point in putting money into that kind of stuff. I just use it as a platform to post my work on every now and then when I feel like it's worth posting. But yeah,
it's not something that's, I guess,
I don't think it's essential.
But if you don't, I guess, like...
And the thing I don't really like about social media is that it's a lot of it's really fake, you know, just because, you know, followers don't necessarily equate to the quality of your work or how good you are as a photographer or as a person, you know.
We see guys that, like, I was scrolling through today, I found a DP, and... for anyone, the director of photography, by the way, just so that I'm not throwing out acronyms. And his Instagram feed was like, I was like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. But he didn't have that many followers.
Yeah.
But it's like his work was like exceptional.
Yeah.
But that doesn't translate in the same sense that like your work doesn't translate into, like, you might have, say, 20,000 followers, but you're not getting booked weekly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it is a very deceiving thing, and it is dangerous as well. Well, look, if you've got nothing to add, anything else that you want to share with us at all? Any secrets? You got like a...
This year, I'm going to Vegas again.
So you're going, and that's going back for EDC?
Yeah, going back to EDC, taking photos for Awake tours once again.
I swear to God, if Anita's not here before that.
They've increased the limit for the capacity for the tour to 55 people this year, as opposed to the 30 I think we had this year.
A ticket still... can you still get tickets?
I think
or?
them like very limited. There might be like 1 or 2 spots available.
Okay.
Now, so
if you want Kamil to take your photo,
by the end of this, they might be sold out.
Yeah. By the time this goes up, they'll be gone.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it'll be cool. And yeah, Anita, you should definitely come down and talk to these guys sometime.
Yeah. No, we've got the endorsement from... I just want to clarify. She has said she will. She just hasn't had time.
Yeah,
so
she's a very busy person. I don't deny that at all. She is very busy.
But yeah, no, we'll definitely get her in. Well, look, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on again.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, we actually got a proper episode. Well, we haven't edited it yet, but
let's hope this one goes up.
Thank you for coming in, Kamil. We appreciate you coming on again and chatting to us. So, hopefully this episode we can actually put up this time. So, thank you for watching the AAA podcast, the show that gives you access to areas to everything music, nightlife, and everything in between. If you want to watch more videos, they are up here. If you want to subscribe, I might put it here or here. We'll change it up this time. But thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Peace.